Hello and welcome back to Listen to This, a podcast about music, for music, and everything in between. My name is Alex.
And I'm Danny.
And we are actually quickly approaching the end of our first season.
Woo!
So we're gonna try to hit this ending strong here by covering oh my gosh, that was a slip of the tongue there.
I know, was that a pun for a second?
But by talking about something that we've touched on in so many other episodes, but we're finally going to devote an episode to it, song covers. But before we get into the meat of things, Danny, what have you been listening to lately?
Alright, so it's kind of going back a little bit. I do have one new song that Mal showed me, and I have been listening to it for like a week now. It's called Affection by Between Friends. It's like a slow, synthy pop song. It's just a very interesting song. It's very chilled and laid back. But I really like the song, so I've been listening to it since she showed me it. Otherwise, so we all know the Neighborhood for Sweater Weather. I went back through their stuff. Like the Neighborhood, other than Sweater Weather, doesn't really get my attention. But then I found one song called Single. I'm afraid to look into the lyrics for it.
What do you mean?
Just because in my interpretation, it's set up like this guy is asking his crush's dad if he can date his daughter. But like, not that it's weird or anything, it's just how he's asking. It's just like, can your baby be my like baby almost? And I'm like, I mean, I get it was supposed to be cute and endearing, but it kind of comes off a little weird. But then the melody and the backtrack for it is so good that you almost are like more enraptured with that than the actual like lyrics happening.
Just from that one line, I would assume he's like talking to the girl, saying, "Can your baby be my baby? Can we have a family together? Can we?"
Oh, maybe.
Just from the one line, I don't know what else he says.
But I don't know. It's a cute song if that's what it's actually meant by.
And then the follow-up song is Rude by Magic.
Yeah, exactly. This is the part one for the part two that we got.
Uh-oh.
But otherwise, I've been going back. I love the band The Naked and Famous.
Yeah.
Amazing. I've been listening a lot to Punching in a Dream though, because we had like this playlist at work that someone has been putting on, and I love them for it, whoever found it. But Punching in a Dream is in it, and it's one of my favorite songs from The Naked and Famous, and like it has just a ton of memories because the first time I ever heard it, I was in New York at the time with my family, and so I always have like good thoughts with that song.
I've never heard that one, but I like Naked and Famous. So I like Youngblood.
It's a cool music video too.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, yes.
Does it have the kind of the same 80s synth poppy vibe that Youngblood does?
Oh yeah. And then last but not least, I've been listening to a little bit of a slower vibe song, "Give Me Something" by Seafrit. I first heard it on a TV show. I think it was it was like that Mel Gibson remake.
Lethal Weapon?
Yeah. It was on that. And it took me forever to find the song because every time I'd Shazam it on the TV, it would just bring up Lethal Weapon. Like, here's the episode. I'm like, no, that's not what I want.
That's not the information I need.
It took me so long, but I finally had figured it out.
Tune find, girl.
And I know that's becoming my new favorite thing at the moment.
Yeah.
But I finally found it, and it was "Give Me Something" by Seafrit. And it's a very cute, like, lovesy song, and it's just a very slow, kind of romantic feel. And I've been obsessed with it.
And it was in Lethal Weapon?
Mm-hmm. It was for a really cute, like, little scene where he, the crazy cop, and the girl were in the elevator, and he likes her, and she kind of likes him, so they're like, hey, you, like, want to hang out? And they're like, yeah, like, let's go get food. And so the last scene, while the song's playing, is them stepping in the elevator, and the door's closing. They're both kind of, like, looking at each other.
Yeah.
So it's super
cute. That's cute, yeah.
And also, Seafrit will be in my covers section, too, because they covered a really good song from one of my favorite bands.
The Neighborhood will be in my cover section. So you brought up... Well, Sweater Weather will be, at least.
Yes! I'm excited for this one, because I love a lot of the covers of Sweater Weather.
There are a few songs that I have, like, several covers of. Like, I have so many different variations, and like some I don't even have the original of.
You've seen my Clarity hoard that I have. Where
Yeah.
it's all kinds of different versions of Clarity, covers of Clarity, the original or remix. Yeah.
I have one song that's just like I have 13 versions of the song, the original plus 12 others.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite songs. Anyway, for me personally, what I have been listening to. So I've been listening to a lot of, as I've mentioned, I think the last like 4 episodes, I've found more of the SoundCloud emo sad trap music, like 93 Feet of Smoke, Velvet Tears, all those guys. But I'm not going to get into all that because it's not exactly news. So if there's a week when I haven't found more of their music, that's when it'll be new and interesting. But also I don't know whether to say band or artist, Saint, Saint with an E at the end of it.
Yeah.
There's the band We Are the In Crowd. Maybe you know them.
Yeah.
So it's the lead singer. It's the girl singer Taylor. It's her solo career, but the drummer and bassist from oughta are like they help her create, like produce it and stuff. I don't know if they're officially part of like a band or if it's just Taylor's thing and they're helping her out. But it's very like synth poppy. I'm not going to go as far as to define it as like an 80s synth pop because it is still relatively.
It's not like Punching in a Dream version of.
I suppose,
things.
yeah. Like I could see her stuff being produced by like if let's say she blows up under this moniker, I could see her collaborating with like Zed and Chainsmokers and stuff like that. Like her sound can fit with their genre. Also, I know I use TikTok I'm not even gonna say a fair amount, but every now and again, maybe like a few times a week, I'll go on it as a time killer. But I know very little about the not Team 10, Hype House, like the all the big names in TikTok, like the D'Amelio sisters and other people, like their collaborative thing. I don't know anything about them, but I guess there's one guy in it. I don't know if this is his name online, or if it's only his artist name, but JXDN. He has a song, Angels and Demons, that's catchy. Not exactly the most lyrically outstanding song in the world, but it's catchy and it's a fun pop song, I guess. Cimarelli had a new single come out called I Am Enough, and actually just a few days ago they had a piano version released that's also very good. But otherwise, I've also finally... I have never heard the 1975 song when it's like appropriate to hear one of their songs. Like I always hear it like years after it's been released.
Oh, same.
So I just discovered Two Time from a brief inquiry into online relationships. The one with like Love It If We Made It and Sincerity Is Scary. Oh my god, have I ever told you about Love It If We Made It? I was playing it at work one time. And my boss, and it was on a playlist at work, and all of a sudden the song came up, and my boss and I were literally right in front of the speaker, and I was just listening to her talk, and I was like, yep. I'm like, oh my god, I know what song is playing right now. We have to get away from this speaker. But sure enough, we are standing right there. The speaker's extra loud because we're right in front of it, and the opening line to the song is fucking in a car, shooting heroin, saying controversial things just for the hell of it. She didn't even notice. Like the cashier looked at me and she was like, Did you just see what happened? I'm like, yes, but I didn't see what happened, so that's what matters.
Oh my god.
I mean, I wouldn't have like gotten in trouble. She'd be like, Alex, what the hell did I just hear?
You'd be like,
whoops.
Fix this.
Otherwise, other things I've been listening to are covers, so I can get into that later.
Also, too, I want to point out, people can't see this, but they deserve to know your Raleigh Ritchie shirt you're wearing right now.
Hell yeah. I also have a new Angels and Airwaves shirt and a new Angels and Airwaves hat that I wear in conjunction because I'm obsessive.
Dude, it's really bad where so Palais Royale kind of has like their own, not like a clothing line, but they do kind of like accessory things and like just cute little like moniker type shit.
Yeah. They
came out with the coolest shorts and I've wanted a pair of that style for so long, and then they came out and it's like it has their little like emblem on the corner, so it looks like super neat, and it's like velvet looking, and I'm like,
interesting.
No! So I got a pair.
Oh, of course you did. I expect nothing less.
I'm not even kidding, half of my nice clothes, because a lot of the clothes I've gotten from them are so nice, that, like, that's most of my closet right now. It's just my normal shit, and then, like, nice clothes that's literally Palais Royale sponsored. Like,
I mean, if it's nice, it's nice. I mean, it's easy to tease someone because of all their band merch, but at a certain point, if it actually like looks good and like proper company,
I mean, one of the shirts I have that's like one of the nicer ones was the ones I wore for New Year's. It was that white, really, really ruffly one.
Oh yeah, I remember you looking like, I was thinking like you look like you're like a 1920s party or something like that.
Yeah, because it's 2020.
Oh hey, look at that!
Yeah.
My hair was still blue, so I wasn't fitting in with that motif. But the only downside to my Raleigh Ritchie shirt is that I don't have a hat that matches it.
Don't you still have the unicorn one?
The unicorn one?
The pink one that you got to match your dabbing shirt or something?
Oh,
like
well, yeah,
that?
well, the hat's not a unicorn. The unicorn on my shirt is dabbing, but the hat is just, it's a hot pink snapback with a big heart on it from Gravity Falls.
Oh. I mean, it would match some of the lettering. Because, like, it kind of goes up and down with the pink shades.
I will admit, I'm a little, I have to get used to this shirt, because I actively bought this color, mint green, because I wanted to have something a little bit different, but it's a bit more indie than what my style normally is, so I just got to like get a little bit more acclimated to it. Like,
so someone who had silver hair just like 5 days ago.
Yeah, but that's because I'm punk rock and rad.
Yeah, also I love how we're sporting about the same shade of blonde right now, because we both went silver about the same time.
Yeah. I mean, I still have to wait like another month, maybe 2 months, until I can cut it back and the brown's back, but... Because if I were to get a cut right now, I would just have frosted tips. I don't want that. But the shirt, like the mint green with the pink lettering and yellow outline, like this is the kind of thing you would wear with like khakis and glasses and go order an IPA at a bar. So I mean, like, again, I just have to get more comfortable and used to wearing it. But like, oh, look at the back too. It's got the astronaut.
Oh, I love that!
Yeah.
That is honestly now my favorite shirt. I love the back of that.
It's cool. It's pretty rad.
All right, actually, enough about bands and band clothing.
Okay, so let's get into it. So, covers. We've obviously, for me at least, there will definitely be some repeats from things I've said in past episodes, because we've like almost consistently talked about it weekly, even if just in our listening recap at the beginning of episodes. Something's always been brought up, so I'll probably have some recurring things there. And then I also was talking to you to make it a point to actively avoid just samples. People like Flo Rida and Black Eyed Peas.
You mean Florida?
Anyway, next week it'll be a solo show. They'll sample things like Flo Rida did "You Spin Me Right Round" for the song "Right Round." He sampled "Blue Dabba Dee Dabba Die" for "Sugar."
Dabba-dee.
Black Eyed Peas did "Meet Me Halfway" and "Just Can't Get Enough." Sampled those songs and stuff, and then just stuff like that. I wanted to avoid that, separate it for things that are true covers. And in order to really differentiate it, because this song falls like weirdly in the center of it, of that line, in that gray area, it's housing right in the middle. So, I don't know if I've mentioned it before, because I don't think we've had a dedicated love song episode, but I think one of the greatest, not necessarily one of my personal favorites, but one of the objectively greatest love songs of all time is "Heaven" by Bryan Adams. "Baby, you're all that I want when you're lying here in my arms."
Oh, yeah.
It's
not like in every rom-com and like...
Yeah, and then like in like the early or mid-aughts, it was covered by the one DJ Sammy, wasn't it?
I am not sure, to be honest with you.
It featured like the Norwegian singer Doe or Do. Not important. Any hoodle, indeed. But this is a cover, question mark, of "Heaven" by Shinigami, one of the SoundCloud rappers I listen to every week. It's very poppy and very, very like produced, but he sings it with like honestly like pop punk vocals. "Baby, you're all that I want when you're lying here in my arms."
Awesome,
but then the verse is like an original rap featuring Velveteers, another girl artist, and like it's only one verse followed by in the middle of two just covered like so just the chorus 2 times or 3 times rather. But the verses are really unique and cool, and I like it a lot. But I'm like, wait, is this actually a cover, or are they sampling it to make an original song? But a majority of it is from the original song. But her like she finishes her thing by saying, we're in hell, like the angels that leapt down and fell. Then it goes to him talking about being in heaven kind of thing. It's a nice dichotomy. But it's certainly not, if it is a cover, it's not the best cover of Heaven I've ever heard, but I still like it a lot. Like it's still very, I'm not going to be an asshole and say like amateurish, but it's still very unfinished, I suppose would be the best way to put it. But I wasn't sure where it fell, so I didn't want to bring it up later and actively break the own rule I set. So I just wanted to get that out of the way now, and then I can definitely jump into covers. Anyway, take it away. I've been talking for a while now.
Oh no. Okay, so not to sound like a broken record, and it's actually kind of funny because I'm looking at my list, and the top is like softer indie bands covering like rock, and then the bottom is soft indie bands being covered by rock artists.
Okay,
so,
yeah.
Oh god. But starting out, Sleepwalking by Bring Me the Horizon, one of my favorite songs from them, always has been, probably always will be.
That's my favorite BMT song.
It's so good. And then I found this band that covered it, and it like slowed it down, made it softer, but the lyrics are
Go on, I'm listening.
But the lyrics are still, it takes on like a different kind of melody or quality to it. But the band anyway that covered this song is This Wild Life. And I really liked how they did it. And I don't know, it was something a little different because you can only listen to so many bands cover other bands and they sound exactly the same. But when you have another genre that covers something outside of their genre, like as just like a one out sort of deal, it ended up working out really well, and I really liked how that kind of wound up. All right, balls in your court.
Okay, so I'm gonna talk about something more objectively a cover as opposed to getting into another gray area. So it isn't too much of a secret to acknowledge that since probably the MySpace days, one method of getting noticed as an artist or as a band is to post covers online. Yeah. People keep listening to your stuff, and you can start releasing some original stuff, and it can segue out there. And there are a bunch of people who I listen to, honestly, on YouTube mostly nowadays. I can't think of any exceptions that are outside of YouTube. Some names that I really like of various genres. So Cimarelli. Huge fan of the Cimarelli sisters. They started off doing covers. Like they were already a band, and I'm sure they probably had some original stuff. They started off doing covers, and then they've actually had a very successful career with both covers and original pieces. And they can go on tour and just do original songs, and people are crazy about it. Another group is I think I can safely say the original band that got big off YouTube and they started off doing covers is Boyce Avenue. If you've heard that name. I have a huge collection, but the first one of theirs I really liked was their cover of "I Miss You" by Blink. They featured a drummer, I think it was Cobus or something like that. But that cover is incredible. It was because I think it was a very very well handled way to do one vocalist doing the entire song. Also, Jonathan Young, who is probably like my go-to hard rock cover guy. He does mostly not mostly, but he does a lot of like anime covers and stuff, and I'm not too into like anime OPs and EPs and stuff, but
you don't like the Naruto song? What?
What'd you say? Any hoodle. But I really like, his cover of like Blue. His cover of Bleed It Out by Linkin Park.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Probably my favorite is his cover of Closer by Chainsmokers. And Travis Cart was his like original collaborator. I don't know if they had a falling out or just went different places in life, but nowadays he does stuff like Caleb Hyles for more of a pop punk sound, not necessarily a hard rock song. Because Travis would scream, Caleb just sings with him. I've mentioned Alex Melton before. He's slowly making his way through my list because he does pop punk covers of everything.
Everything.
And then the other big one I listen to almost consistently is Jada Facer. She has a very, very soft, delicate voice, and I think it's very pretty. But I also follow Kurt Hugo Schneider. So,
hey, that's the guy I have marked on mine.
Yeah, I fucking love that guy, and he's like
so good.
He's incredible in general. He graduated like magna cum laude from Harvard, I think.
Oh shit, really?
He's like a mathematician. He's like a certified genius. She's a chess master and stuff.
So no wonder why he's so good at covers. He probably figured out the formula of what makes him work.
Right, exactly. Like this guy is just smart and he loves making music. He could be going out and like doing anything. He just says like, no, it's I have fun making music with my friends, and I get behind that.
Yeah.
But other names would be like Tyler Ward, Julia Shear, like other.
Our Last Night.
Oh, that's actually a band I was going to talk about later. I forgot to group them in. Our Last Night. Oh my gosh, the first 211. Stuff like that.
Would you count
Fame on Fire?
I Prevail, since they were sort of getting popular in the scene, but they never really broke out, and I don't think they would have ever broken out if it weren't for their cover of Blank Space by Taylor Swift.
Gonna get to them later. But I wouldn't consider them a YouTube band. Like they were a band who posted a cover to YouTube because the record company said, we'll make you a music video for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's all I want to talk about in regards to YouTube stuff. But Julia Shear has her cover of Habits Stay High by Tove Lo.
I love that song.
I mispronounced her name for like a year before someone corrected me. I kept saying Tove Lo.
I know, I was one of the people that would correct you, and you're like, no, that's not it. I'm like, dude.
Because you and like Zach would be like, yeah, it's Tove, like love. Like, I thought it was Tove, like cove.
It's
or
Tove
Ro.
Lo.
Tove Lo. Tove Lo.
You silly goose.
It's me. Also like Madeline Bailey, her cover of Eminem's song Berserk, where she takes a rap song and makes it like a jazz lounge piece.
Ooh.
Fucking mint. Okay, your turn.
Oh no. Okay. I'm gonna quick group these up real quick.
How dare you?
Just because otherwise I will keep talking about this band and you're gonna be like, for God's sakes. But it's yet again Bring Me the Horizon.
Never heard of
It's Can You Feel My Heart, which is one of their most popular songs from their album Sepultura, which is where Sleepwalking is also featured. I'm gonna keep going. Like you can't do this to me. Can You Feel My Heart, kind of a harder rock song, was covered by a guy named Sammy Irish. I think he's a YouTuber, but I'm not sure. I just found it on Spotify, so I started listening to it. And it is the most calm version of that song, and I didn't know that was possible. It's really soft, really, like, almost, like, I can't think of the word. I want to say, I can see it, but I can't say it, so I'm going to say...
Melancholic? Like sad?
No, it's, like, almost...
Lethargic? No, that's kind of a synonym, I suppose.
I don't want to say peaceful, but that's as close as I can get.
Tranquil?
What I'm trying to, yeah, like that. It's so super soft, super laid back. Like, he still goes through the entire song, and it still is, like, very haunting. But it's not, like, as in your face as the original. So I feel like that was a nice take on that song.
Okay.
And also, Drown from Bring Me the Horizon was covered by Seafrit, which I mentioned previously.
OMG.
And, Bring Me the Horizon released two different versions of that song. There was the single version and then the album version. All that they really added was different guitars, different like background components. But Seaford does a really good job at stripping all of that away and just getting to the lyrics, because I feel like that's what a lot of the fans connected with the lyrics of that song.
Okay.
And they do a really good job at bringing that out to the front. Even though kind of the back music for Seafrit's song doesn't quite match the same sort of feeling that they're going for. But it's still a really good song, and it's still like an interesting indie take on like a harder rock band.
Alright. No, I like when people do like piano ballad covers of rock songs and stuff like that. I think it's very, very pretty. Like one person I won't really be talking about, but like The Theorist, he always does like no vocals, just piano covers of usually hip hop or pop songs. But some of his stuff is just, it makes the song sound really pretty.
You're up, bud.
Okay, so I'm gonna go big here. I'd say like two examples of, and maybe someone will agree on the second one, but I think it's pretty universal in the first one. Two songs where the covers became like the definitive versions of the song, like they kind of overshadowed the original thing. And the first song's example, the writer of the original song is like, yeah, it's not my song anymore, that's his. Hurt by Johnny Cash.
Yes!
Yeah, like even Trent Reznor's like, nah, that's a Johnny Cash song.
That, every time I listened to it when that song first came out, I literally would cry.
It's such a sad song. And I think the music videos even makes it more powerful and stuff.
Oh man, I haven't seen the music video for it.
Oh, it's like, it was made like a few months before Johnny died.
Oh.
He looks like a frail old man, which makes it like perfect for his voice and stuff. Then the other one is much more recent, Disturbed's cover of Sound of Silence.
Oh yeah.
Because I mean, Disturbed also did a cover of Land of Confusion.
Yeah.
Which is fine, I guess. But the Sound of Silence, in my opinion, is better than the Simon and Garfunkel.
And they put so much effort into it because the lead singer went and learned how to sing opera. He learned how to sing.
He's classically trained in that before Disturbed.
Pretty much had to
perfected
learn
their craft.
Yeah, they had to get on it to make sure that they did the best they could to cover that song. And he even talked about how hard it was to just get everybody together to put this out because they put so much pressure on themselves. I'm like, that's amazing.
I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, Paul Simon even emailed them and said thank you so much for doing my song justice. Thank you for caring this much about it. And
yeah.
I can never remember Disturbed's lead singer's name, but he was he basically was fangirl, oh my gosh, thank you so much.
That's awesome to think about because he's kind of intimidating looking. So seeing him fangirl over any sort
over
of
Simon
thing,
and Garfunkel.
Yeah, that's an image that I appreciate.
Yeah. No, that's your turn.
Oh boy. Okay. So going into kind of the weird balancing act of my list right now. So you're talking about Hugo Schneider.
Love that dude.
His version of Roses is my favorite, covered from the Chainsmokers.
Okay.
I already love that song. I love the music video. I think it's one of their best songs that they put out. And then having him cover it was sort of the same feeling, but just paring everything back a little bit so that the vocals are a lot stronger was probably one of my favorite parts of that song. It's so relaxing.
Was it a solo thing, or did he feature someone singing?
I think it was a solo thing.
It was just him singing?
Yeah. But he does such a good job, and it made the song even more romantic, because it is a very romantic song, but a lot of people don't realize that because it's the Chainsmokers. It's the group that put out Selfie.
Yeah.
It's really hard to compare them with any sort of romantic music, but then when you have someone like Kurt who covers it, you can really tell it was meant to be a love song.
The only... I don't even want to say issue, but the only thing that kind of has me about when Kurt is singing is that he doesn't have a speech impediment at all, but when he sings with soft R's. Mm-hmm. Are you ready? As opposed to saying, are you ready? He doesn't have an impediment. It's a stylistic thing, and for me it's kind of
Yeah.
But I still think he has a nice voice, so I'm sure he'd be able to do that song justice. I also like his covers of... He partnered with Cimorelli and did "I Don't Care" by Ed Sheeran and Justin Bieber, and I think it is a million times better than the original. Because Ed and Justin, as funny as their music video is, it's a song about how happy you are, because you don't care about what anybody else thinks. You're happy in your relationship, but they're singing like they're dead inside.
Yeah.
What? But the girls are happy about it. I'm yes, this is the emotion I wanted from this song. And he also did a cover of a K-pop song, "Kiss and Make Up," with Jada, actually one of the girls I mentioned who I like.
Ooh.
His covers.
They did a really good cover too of "Radioactive" by Imagine Dragons.
Yeah,
that's probably one of my favorite ones. Where, although it took out my favorite element, which was the drums, the drum beat in that song. But it was a guy and a girl. It's him and somebody else. I can't remember her name that was featured on it at the time. But I really liked that cover. I really liked that cover. Wait, who is it?
It was the Macy Kate Band. Okay. So now I'm gonna. As you were mentioning, I was probably gonna break it into sections. I'll be talking about Pop Goes Punk in a little bit, but I want to talk about established artists who just decided to cover a song. The first one I can remember hearing is "I Fought the Law," the Green Day cover. I forgot who even made the original. But the Law and the Law one. Yeah, the Green Day's cover of that I like a lot. I'll get into concept albums later, or cover albums later. Fucking hey, where are other examples I had? Laura Jansen, a Danish singer, she covered "You Somebody" by Kings of Leon in a very soft, delicate voice and a piano ballad, and it's really good. John Mayer covered "I Don't Need No Doctor," which I talked about in our live music thing before, because it's only on one of his live albums. I Prevail, we talked about covering "Blank Space." Hootie and the Blowfish covered "I Go Blind." No idea who's
Hootie and the Blowfish?
Yeah. Have you never heard of Hootie and the Blowfish? Have you ever heard of Darius Rucker?
I've heard of Darius Rucker.
Yeah, that's the band he came from. Hootie and the Blowfish was a big deal for like 15 years. Only Want to Be With You. I only want to be with you.
Oh yeah, that song.
Yeah, you've...
Blowfish. I feel like I've heard of them before, but just the moment of taking in the fact that their name was Hootie and the Blowfish, I just have to like... I can finally question publicly why.
It was named after two friends, the guy Hootie and the one guy who had like big glasses, and he was a little bit heavier, so he looked like a blowfish.
Now I'm just thinking of Bubbles from Trailer Park Boys.
Ugh, don't think of Bubbles from Trailer Park Boys. People on Vacation covered my favorite Pink song, "Blow Me One Last Kiss." People on Vacation is Jarrett Reddick from Bowling for Soup and some indie band dude.
Ooh.
But they do an acoustic cover.
Actually, you have to say the song the way that Pink printed it. It's "Blow Me" and then
One Last Kiss.
Yeah, One Last Kiss. Like, I love Pink. God damn it.
Shiny Toy Guns covered Major Tom.
Which seems very fitting for some reason.
Yeah. We Are the In Crowd, bringing them back, covered Sick Transit Gloria, Glory Fades by Brand New, which is a really interesting song. It's essentially the male perspective of a guy being sexually assaulted.
Ooh.
And that's probably a little bit over dramatized, because it isn't like it. He's feeling really depressed, so his friends, I don't know if they buy him a prostitute or just like pay a friend to sleep with him kind of thing, and he's never had sex before, and the entire time he's like, I don't want to do this, and he actually says no, but they go through it anyways, and it kind of scars him. It's really interesting. Nate Wants to Battle covered Mercy. I mean, Nate Wants to Battle is kind of a YouTube guy who covers a bunch of stuff. That's how he got started. Lily Allen covered Somewhere Only We Know. Here's a song that I was surprised to learn was a cover. Chris Allen, he won like the 8th or 9th season of American Idol.
I know a few of his songs.
His first big song, his first like after he won from his album, was "Live Like We're Dying." Mm-hmm. That's a cover of the script.
I somehow knew that, but I never actually made that correlation before, because I remember this. I remember having that song from the script on my little MP3 that I used to have.
Back when dinosaurs roamed the earth.
Yeah, back when aux was the only way you could live, and you still, like, cassette tapes were still in the car deck. Like,
damn, you're old.
I know. So I remember seeing that, but like, I don't know. I guess I never really followed him and his career too much. I only know a few of his songs. One song. Yeah, from the ones I know are from Vampire Diaries, which is not surprising.
Yeah.
Vampire Diaries had good music, and now Ty has admitted it to me, so I've won this battle.
You've won this battle.
I've won this battle.
The only other big, I'm not going to say big, but the only other like established band who covered a song is a song that we actually talked about a few episodes ago, was Framing Hanley's cover of Lollipop.
Ooh, that was a good one.
Yeah.
Or the one that we talked last episode, Five Finger Death Punch, covered House of the Rising Sun.
That's true, yeah.
That I did not know for the longest time until my dad told me, and I was like, oh.
Mind blown. So I also wanted to bring up, just quickly, because it's not something we have to talk about, but I mentioned it once before in an episode and I loved your reaction. I Set My Friends on Fire, the experimental post-hardcore screamo band, covered Crank That Soldier Boy. So that's cool. It's actually not cool, it's a very bad cover, but it's fun. And Dermot Kennedy, I don't know if this kind of a live thing, but he covered Kanye West's Heartless for BBC Radio.
Ooh.
And it's real good.
I love BBC's covers, or like the BBC music things, or the live lounge studio.
Yeah.
Because, I don't know, each time you get to see like how talented some of these artists are, because a lot of the times people listen to like pop artists and be like, oh, you know, they wouldn't be famous if it weren't for auto-tune, but then you hear them at this like studio and they're covering like other artists and they're doing so good at it. I'm just like I didn't know how well I never realized how talented, I'm gonna massacre her name, Dua Lipa is.
No, that's correct, Dua Lipa.
Yes, like, she sung, I can't remember what song it was, but it was for that thing, and that's when I realized, like, she's got some pipes on her.
Yeah, her voice is like is a little bit deeper for a female vocalist, but she's got some power behind it. She can belt things out.
A permanent alto, and for someone who was an alto in choir, I appreciate her.
You're like, cool.
Kill. Nerd moment.
Oh, no, your turn before I go on to a new topic, a new section.
Oh, God. Okay, so we talked about both of these things already. Can you guess what it is?
Clarity.
Yes.
I don't remember. I don't know what that would be.
So, a punk band covered Clarity, and it was Our Last Night.
Okay.
It's actually how I found those guys before they went to Warped Tour and played all, like, original songs, save for, like, 2 songs that weren't really that good. But anyway.
Dip Dame Daru.
I don't know. They did a really good job at turning Clarity into a pop punk song without,
Butchering it.
Yeah, without just completely. Because, I mean, first off, Fox's vocals in it are hard as hell.
Is he the higher pitched one?
Yeah, I don't want to call him backup, but the second singer.
The second singer?
We'll call him the second singer. Because
Okay,
he really does do all the higher notes and a lot of the background stuff. But he did a really good job at covering those vocals, because I can't even imagine how hard that was to try and sing, and let alone learn.
Mm-hmm.
So that turned out really good. The whole melody is still, like, very well intact. They didn't butcher an EDM song to try and make a Frankenstein song out of it. So I'm very pleased with it, and I love showing it off because it's a good cover of it.
I also really like their cover of 1-800.
Oh yeah,
Logic
that was
song.
a very good cover of that.
It's very respectfully well done. What was the other one you were going to talk about? You talk about Clarity? You said
The second song was Back to You from Selena Gomez, covered again by Our Last Night. Ding, ding, ding. Anyhoodle. But, yeah, it's another one where not that Back to You is that intricate of a song, or at least what it seemed like on the surface, but they did a really good job of kind of, again, adding some guitars and adding some live instruments to it, which I think really upped the song, in my opinion. Okay. So it was a nice cover. I would have loved to hear Selena sing over that melody now, too.
Over their instrumentation?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Because I feel like it'd be a very, very interesting mix. I just want to know what that would sound like.
That could happen. Well, chances are Our Last Night did it into a different key, so it'd be a little bit more complicated than just taking vocals and putting it on top, but
yeah.
Still. Two groups that we actually already talked about, but that I kind of group in together with Our Last Night as like the YouTube harder rock cover bands are Fame on Fire and First to 11. Fame on Fire, the only song I really know by them is their cover of EXO Tour Life by Lil Uzi Vert. And if you look at the YouTube comments, they're pretty spot on by talking about how racist the YouTube video is. Because it's just the band playing in like a white room, but everybody who's white in the video is holding alcohol, and everybody who's black is holding a gun. And like they're all partying together to like the song, like rocking out to this song, but at the same time, it's like who approved this and thought this is okay. This would be a good way to represent the band.
This is a good look.
Yes,
That's not a good look.
And then for First to 11, which is a female led band, the first song by them I really liked was their cover of Without Me by Halsey. But then actually just like last week I discovered their song, they covered Adam's song by Blink-182, mm-hmm. and then Take on Me by Oughta. And they're both very, very well done. I enjoyed them very much. Take on Me. But yeah. So I like those guys. Here's a category that I wasn't really sure whether or not to include it. What about songs that are like public domain, like holiday songs? Like, would you cover someone singing "Holly Jolly Christmas" to be a cover?
I mean,
or like Scarborough Fair, because that was Simon and Garfunkel, but it's Celtic Woman singing it. Would that count as a cover? Because that's kind of an original song, even if it is taken from like old rhymes.
I don't know, because that's at that point it's not so much a cover as it is a
version,
rendition.
Rendition.
Thank you of it. And at that point, it's just kind of like, All I Want for Christmas Is You to just be Mariah Carey's song.
There have been a billion covers of the song.
Maybe
Zebrahead, My Chemical Romance.
There was a girl who sung it in a version that sounded like it was like an older, like maybe like late 80s, early 90s version of it. And I really liked that, and I mistook it for the original. I'll have to figure out what song that was.
The Wikipedia article has some of the covers.
Holy mother.
I like this one.
I like this
and
one.
I like this one.
In 20 different styles. Holy shit.
Jeepers. Mariah killing it out here for the holiday season. Okay, then here's another... I'm going to bring up two special cases. So, Ingrid Michaelson wrote, or maybe co-wrote, the song Parachute. Mm-hmm. And Cheryl Cole sang it. But then a few years later, Ingrid released her own version. Is she covering a Cheryl Cole song, or is she doing her own rendition of a song she wrote?
I feel like that would fall under rendition, because I mean, if you wrote it...
But yours isn't the first released.
Yeah.
Admittedly, the Cheryl Cole version's better produced, like the percussion's better. Ingrid's is still good, but just as a side by side, I like Cheryl's version better.
Yeah.
I just wasn't sure about that. And then there's the case of Bowling for Soup's 1985. I only had a really rough idea of the story behind it, but then Jarrett Reddick was actually on TikTok and he kind of explained it more in detail. So 1985 is probably Bowling for Soup's...
1985.
It's probably their first giant hit. They had like smaller hits with like Girl All the Bad Guys Want and the Bitch Song and stuff. But 1985 came out and it's originally by a band called SR-71. Now Jarrett and the lead singer of SR-71 were in the studio at the same time. And the guy from SR-71 came over and said, dude, this would be a great Bowling for Soup song. And Jarrett's like, well, hey, let me hear it. So he kind of like played him a little bit of it, and Jared's like, I'd change some things here and there, but yeah, I could see it. He's like, yeah, you guys should cover it. And he's like, yeah, okay. So even though they were recorded at damn near the same time, technically SR-71's was released first.
But, I don't like that for some reason.
But like, so I think Bowling for Soup's first verse is better. The chorus is the same. I think SR-71's second verse is better, but then I think Soup's has a better bridge. It's a really weird thing. Technically, I think it was officially released by SR-71, but Bowling for Soup's is definitely the definitive version. If you say 1985, people aren't going to go, oh, that one's tiny Canadian punk rock band? No, they're going to say Bowling for Soup.
Yeah, that's how I knew that song was from them, so that's actually kind of funny.
Yeah, it's a weird scenario. I've also noticed there's a relatively common occurrence where people will like do demos as covers, like Blink-182 covered Dead Man's Curve, Zebrahead covered There's a Place in France, but they're usually like hidden tracks or like for like unreleased or like quietly released EPs, like of just demo odds and ends and stuff like that. That wasn't relevant to anything. I just wanted to mention it. So then your turn.
Oh no. Okay. So I'm kind of like tweedling down my list a little bit, but I think for me, one of my favorite cover, I don't want to say groups because it's not really a group, but my favorite cover album has been Punk Goes Pop.
The whole Punk Goes series.
Yeah.
Punk Goes Acoustic, Punk Goes Crunk.
No, don't.
Punk Goes Crunk is actually really good. That's the one that has like the cover of Umbrella and Still Fly.
Oh Jesus, I didn't even know that was the thing. I thought you were just trying to be like slick for a second.
Nah, fam.
Nah, fam. Oh Jesus. Oh no.
Go on. Continue speaking.
Punk Goes Pop probably was from my junior year up, like how I found a lot of the bands that I still listen to. From the Ready Set to For All Those Sleeping. That's also how I was first introduced to Chunk, No Captain Chunk, was that.
All Star or We Are Who We Are?
We Are Who We Are. And then, like, Silverstein and stuff like that. That was the first time I've ever really listened to them. And that was because of this. And also, too, and my favorite band is when they covered Ass Back Home, which is a Gym Class Hero song. and Secrets covered them.
Oh, hey.
And I love that band, and that was also... So the year that album was released, their Punk Goes Pop, that year I went to Warped Tour, so it must have been 2013. And they were just releasing their second album, so they were doing the whole like going up and down the lines, being like, "Hey, listen to our music. Hey, listen to our music."
Yeah.
And he walked over and he goes, "Hi, I'm from Secrets. Like, this is my band. Check out our new like thing real quick." And I'm like, "Wait, why is that name familiar?" So I like went through my phone real quick, and it was like an older like iPhone that barely had signal. So I'm like sitting there as he's like talking to us, and I'm like trying to listen, trying to like figure it out. And as he's walking, I'm like, "You covered Ass Back Home," and he goes, "Yeah." I'm like, "That's how I know you." And he looked so perplexed, but I ended up buying the CD because I was just
screaming
like,
at him,
yeah, because I'm like, sure. And I think 2 years later, I ended up meeting and taking a picture with the lead singer and talked to the rest of the band, and I was literally stoked.
Yeah,
I was so happy.
Literally,
I was literally, I could not talk.
Like, you're so excited.
Yeah, she took a pic. My friend who was with took a picture. We were walking, and I just went, "That's the lead singer!" Like super high and squeaky, and she goes, "Yes, Danny, now breathe."
Yes, Danielle.
And I'm just like, "That was Secrets." She goes, "Yes, I know." I'm like, "We just saw them. Like, I have their CDs." And she's just like, "Oh, Jesus, fuck.
What have I done?"
Yeah.
I'm now a babysitter.
Yeah, pretty much. But that is like, those sort of covers also let me appreciate some of the songs, like Chunks' "We Are Who We Are." What other really big one was... I know you were talking about Sweater Weather. Tyler Carter and Luke Holland covered "Ain't It Fun." That was probably one of my favorites, too, from them. Like, that's just such a, like, honest to God, such a sad song. It's, like, on par with...
Ain't It Fun?
Yeah.
By Paramore?
Yeah.
I think it's a very fun song.
It sounds fun, but if you listen to the lyrics about how, like, growing up sucks and
Well, yeah,
being an adult is just sucking it up and dealing with shit.
Yeah, it's like, buck up, here we go.
Yeah, that's like Bring Me the Horizon coming out with That's the Spirit. Like, it is what it is. Like, that's so depressing.
I don't know. I guess I never considered it a depressing song. It's like, it's kind of like things are about to get real. Hope you're ready. As opposed to, get ready, this is going to fucking suck.
Get ready, this is going to...
The Punk Goes series has introduced me to a billion bands. The first Punk Goes Pop cover I ever heard is A Day to Remember covering Over My Head.
Mm-hmm.
That was how I discovered them. I discovered... what was another one? I discovered Set It Off when they covered Problem.
Yes.
I discovered Crown the Empire when they covered Burn. I discovered Tonight Alive when they covered Little Lion Man. Discovered Hands Like Houses when they covered Torn.
Ooh, I love Hands
But other really notable ones are like Devil Wears Prada covering Still Fly, Every Avenue covering Take Me Home Tonight. There are a bunch of really cool ones. Eat Your Heart Out covered Shape of You. They're a female-led Australian band.
Knuckle Puck covering 1975's Chocolate. Both versions of that song is so weird, though. I think it's the song itself that's weird.
I cannot stand the 1975's voice prior to the album You're So Beautiful When You Sleep, or whatever that is. Because the album before that, he sings like this the entire time. He's like climaxing with his vocals, and it weirds me out.
And it weirds me out. There's one song from the 1975. It was like super popular for so long, and I can't think of what it was. The song I was thinking of from the 1975 is also on the album we were talking about. I like it when you're sleep. What the fuck?
I like it when you sleep because you're so beautiful, yet you don't know it. Or
yeah,
whatever.
you're unaware. That's so pretentious. Anyway, was the sound.
Your girl dated him. The sound. That's a great
Your
song.
Your girl dated him. I know. Look. She also dated G-Eazy, and honestly, he's the worst of the group. So.
Geezy. Oh, no, the sound is really good. That was the song that made me like the 1975.
Yeah, same with me.
I can get behind this. But then Punk Goes also has acoustic. Punk Goes acoustic, where it isn't. It's, you could argue it's covers, but it's bands doing acoustic versions of their own songs.
Ooh.
Like Dance Gavin Dance does one. Dashboard Confessional does one. That's only from Volume 3. I haven't really listened to Volumes 1 or 2. The one that really perplexes me is Punk Goes 90s. Because that's like still essentially the genre of most of the bands.
Yeah.
But like, Chunk covered All Star and
Motionless in White covered Rammstein, which is really weird.
Rammstein. So American.
I know. My German ancestors will be really upset with me. I think that's the song they covered, to be honest with you, was Du hast.
Hostage.
Apparently that means also either I love or I hate, depending on the context of the sentence.
I don't think it's love. In the context of the song, I don't think it's
song,
love.
In the song does not mean love. But...
Real quick, throwing in there, Well, Day to Remember was one of the first like big covers that got me into what would become my...
I just remember, but continue.
They also covered, prior to Punko's Pop, 2 years prior, they also covered Kelly Clarkson's Since You've Been Gone for that
That's
album.
what I was about to bring up.
That's a really good cover, too. It's now, for those who have heart, isn't the most well-produced album of all time. Like, given that they followed it up with Homesick, which was an amazingly well-produced album, it's a little bit sketchy, but the music video is a lot of fun for it, and I don't know, Jeremy sounds like he's having fun with it.
I remember when Pitch Perfect came out, and they did, like, a version of that song, and then, like, for some reason, though, I never heard the Pitch Perfect version played. I heard the Day to Remember played all the time.
Really?
So my friend and I would sing, the one that I went to Warped Tour with, we would sing that song in the car, but we'd act like we're still singing for Pitch Perfect. Which is very a weird, confusing sort of mix, but...
Here's a really weird side note. It's just a weird story. There's a version. I don't even want to say version. Back when YouTube did like weird kind of trippy videos, which they still do now, but now it's supposed to be niche and like anti-memes. It's just a weird movement. But they someone combined Kelly Clarkson's Since You've Been Gone, some Nine Inch Nails song, and MC Hammer's Too Legit to Quit. So it was like, Since You've Been Gone, and when she's saying gone, MC Hammer's going, get buck, get buck, get buck, get buck, get buck. And then there's like weird like heavy metal guitar riffs in the background, and it was weird and it wasn't the most well mixed, but I'm still like, this works kind of well. I'm behind this. I was also like 12, so. So there's a bunch of one-off things I could talk about, just of various covers here and there. But I think just because this episode will probably end up being a bit of a longer one, I'm going to bring it down to 2 points. One being the song I mentioned that I have a billion covers of, and then I just want to talk about cover albums as a whole. For myself, obviously you talk about it. But for me, the song that I have 12 covers of, in addition to the original.
I'm so excited for this.
Well, and I've actually mentioned it before, The Book of Love.
Oh, yeah.
It's originally by the Magnetic Fields for their concept album. Not concept album, but just big album, 69 love songs. Nice. But the Peter Gabriel cover for the movie Shall We Dance, which was probably even more well-known from being in the original series finale of Scrubs, that is an incredible version, which undeniably got the song to be more popular. So now I have covers by, brace yourself, Gavin James, The New Standards, Jody Shaw, James Patrick Stewart, Catherine A.D., Resonate, Billy Simons Jr., The Blue Drop, Enigma, Anna Gasteyer from SNL, and then the cover by the Shadowboxers from the soundtrack for the movie The Book of Love, whose music is also... And then the song also has backing vocals by the film's composer, Justin Timberlake.
Oh my god.
But there are so many different versions. I have a country version, a jazzier one, a weird electronic one that I'm like, this isn't great, but I still like it.
This isn't great.
Because I'm just a sucker for the song in general, but... Listen to the Peter Gabriel Book of Love cover from the Shall We Dance soundtrack, not the one he re-recorded like 10 years later as a frail old man with weaker vocals for one of his albums. The Shall We Dance version. Best version of the song. It's real good. I was amazed Anna Gasteyer could sing as well as she does. I think Anna Gasteyer, I think of her from the Sweaty Balls skit.
Oh god.
But that's not important. Okay, I'll pass the buck to you now.
This is kind of going off of when you said bands like pretty much covering themselves or at least in the same genre.
Oh my gosh, yes.
There's a song from Nine Inch Nails and it's called Closer, and it's not anything like the Closer you're thinking of where it's the Chainsmokers pop. Like this one's like,
so baby pull me closer in the backseat of it.
Okay, no, there was 2 covers by it. So first off, the original is from Nine Inch Nails. Then Asking Alexandria covered it for the Punk Goes 90s. And then In This Moment covered it too and put their own spin on it.
In This Moment, why does that get
Maria Brink. I talk about them a lot. They're the female fronted. They did Sex Metal Barbie.
Oh, okay, yeah.
There you go. all three of them are basically in the same genre. So, like, even though they covered it, like, it sounds literally like the same thing. There's almost no differentiated version for me.
I don't know if I'm in this moment, but when you said from Nine Inch Nails to Asking Alexandria, I'm like, oh, I could see that work. I could see that that transition well.
Other than Maria Brink adding female vocals to it, it's practically the same. It just has a little more, like, almost electronic melody in the back.
Okay.
That's about it. And they're all really good covers, don't get me wrong. But it's such a weird thing for, like, three bands basically in the same genre to be like, we got this.
I don't know. That doesn't strike me as too odd. I mean, I think it could translate. It could work well.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm just used to covers having, like, a different
a stylistic difference.
Yeah, like, even though Secrets covered Ass Back Home, and obviously, like, both genre related and style related, they're different. But it still is, like, the same song. Like, no matter what version you hear, you'd be like, oh, I know exactly what this is. But it's a little different. Each one, you're just like, okay, like, this one's obviously, like, strawberry, and this one's obviously vanilla. But it's still cake. This one, it's literally, like, you don't know if it's almond, fucking vanilla, or I can't think of another white flavoring. Confetti.
Funfetti.
You can't
Lemon.
Lemon. Okay, yeah, that would work. Like lemon, vanilla, or almond flavored. It's just the same cake. Want some strawberry?
God, boy, do you want that cake? No, I understand the admittedly interesting visual you're giving us all, but no, I get what you're saying. Oh, my turn? Okay, I wasn't sure if you have more to add to that.
That was it.
I apologize. I know I said I was going to write to cover albums, and this kind of still applies, but I just want to bring up something I mentioned months ago. JoJo. The girl Too Little Too Late. She had to re-record her first two albums because, while she still had the performance rights, she lost the studio or recording rights, whatever those are. Mm-hmm. So she had to essentially cover herself for two albums, so that way she could have the right to put things on like Spotify because the record label held them. She didn't have it anymore. And I think that's total bullshit. Like, that's ridiculous that that's what happened. But I just wanted to bring up that JoJo covered her own self for two albums in a row. And it's interesting hearing her go from like 14 and 16 to 20, 28 and 30 or something like that. Yeah, that
difference.
Yeah, like she's definitely grown a bit, and given the theme of her album that came out after that, she definitely smoked a lot, and her voice is a little more raspy.
Oh, really? I like how that's how you... She definitely... Well,
she talks about getting high a lot, so...
Oh, yeah, so...
Okay, now I'm just gonna... My closing thoughts will be cover albums. Usually... I can't think of an established band doing it for the boost in like fame. Usually it sounds like fun, so they want to go ahead and put their own spin on these songs. It isn't like this will be the song, this will be the album that gets us that makes us go triple platinum and we'll be huge. It's more like this is gonna be rad.
Oh god, I'm excited.
So the first one that I listened to completely when I was like 14 is Zebrahead. They did an album where they covered female pop songs from the 2000s, and I think even late 90s a little bit. And the album, appropriately, is titled Panty Raid. I think it's clever. The first single off it was Avril Lavigne's Girlfriend.
Yeah!
They also did No Doubts Underneath It All, which I think is a really great cover. Just don't watch the music video because it has furries.
Really?
Not like actual furries, but people in fursuits, and nowadays that would be misconstrued as other
music bands. Yeah, that's fair. It's almost like buying like a mascot thing and running around at places, and they're like,
Someone out there has an erection. I don't want to be near that person. But they also covered like Jenny from the Block and Oops, I Did It Again, London Bridge, stuff like that. It's a very fun album. Another group that's relative. I mean, maybe it's just because of the sphere that I exist in pop culture. Ninja Sex Party has two albums, Under the Covers, Part 1 and 2. Like Under the Covers and Under the Covers 2, where they do mostly like 80s songs that they just want to cover. And for being a comedy rock band, when they take time to do like a real version of a song, they do it very, very well, and I think they should be commended for it. Then the last one I just want to briefly touch on is I mentioned it before. Real Big Fish did a cover album with Zoloft, the Rock and Roll Destroyer, and I haven't listened to the whole thing. It's only like 6 songs. I really should listen to the whole thing. But I think the big standout is "Don't You Want Me," like "Don't You Want Me, Baby, Don't You Want Me, Oh," kind of thing.
Wow.
Their cover is very, very well done. And it's a very fun album because you've got ska and pop rock, so it makes for a very enjoyable sound.
Not bad.
There was a bunch of stuff I didn't talk about. I didn't talk about like Richard Cheese. I didn't talk about like movie soundtracks that cover things.
And I even talked.
Oh, I'm sorry, I interrupted you when you were speaking.
No, you're fine. I was just gonna joke. I barely talked about So I talked about Clarity, but I never talked about Closer. And I'm like, I forgot that I had a cover by Seaway. It's another Punk Goes Pop album, but it's one of the newest ones, and it super slowed down, like almost acoustic version of it, and I freaking love it. It's so nice because I've heard other bands do like acoustic versions of it, or some of them that just go into like straight hard rock, and all of them are fantastic. But the one that really does it well for like slowing it down and making it acoustic was Seaway.
Okay. It's #fresh. I never talked about Time Flies, which I think is an established band or duo who went on to just like they have like their own music and stuff, but then they all like began at one point releasing covers onto YouTube kind of thing.
Yeah.
And they did a mashup of Pompeii by Bastille. It's listed as a cover of Pompeii, but then like after the second chorus, they all of a sudden switch into a cover of Sweater Weather.
I like that.
Yeah, it's so that was why I wanted to bring up Sweater Weather, and I managed to go an entire episode without actually talking about it. But yeah, so okay, that's where I think I can leave it. I guarantee you in future episodes I'm going to talk about more covers and stuff
yeah.
like.
Agreed.
This probably won't even be our only cover episode, but
no. Also, too, it's funny that you said that because Halsey did a mashup of her actual song "Coming Down" and "Sweater Weather"
on
one of her live shows, and it was so good because "Coming Down" is kind of like a sadder, more melancholic song. But then you got like the nice contrast of "Sweater Weather," where it's like, let's get cozy and like cuddle and shit like that. Coming down is like that point where like cuddling is over and you're realizing like it's not gonna work sort of deal.
Oh, I thought you meant you were about to start having sex.
No, that song's literally about like realizing like it's all just the house of cards is starting to come down sort of deal
sad.
on it. So it's super sad, but then when you pair it with like Sweater Weather, it's just like
That's a really interesting dichotomy.
yeah, but it works so well.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a really good live version of that, at least. But anyway, that's literally all I got for that. And then this next one, we're doing music videos again. Right?
Oh yeah. I mean, we can. We never discussed what our finale would.
Oh
wait.
Yeah.
Or did we? I think we did last time. Actually,
Yeah.
You're right. Music videos part 2 was
Because
going
we
to
were
be our
like, we can do that, and then we have like we can post music videos throughout our downtime, so that
Yes.
we don't have to like.
I remember saying those words with you.
I remember word.
There's a movie soundtrack that's just a cover album. You know, like I could have talked about that. But you know what? I'll save that. I'll save that for future episodes. Sucker Punch. Remember that? Sucker Punch.
Sucker Punch is good.
Okay, so that was something where we like. There was very the only time there were lulls is when we were like pausing and going, "Do you want to go, or can I keep going? What's going on here?" So we had a bunch to talk about there, which doesn't come as too much of a surprise to me. We like original songs, and we will frequently go and seek out other versions of those songs. I'm actually personally, I'm more fascinated with just like the recording history of covers. Like how did this song come to be?
And like when cover songs sometimes are even better than the originals.
Right.
It's like.
And some situations where you're like, this is a cover? I didn't even know it, because like most people don't even think of it as.
Honestly, that was how I was with the Johnny Cash.
It hurt, yeah.
Yeah, that was just, it's such a phenomenal song that he can sing that, and it's just mint.
I want to die. Okay, well, that brings our cover episode to a close. Only one more episode, the music video one, coming up, and then season 1 will be done. We'll go on a bit of a hiatus for a hot minute. But yeah, so we'll see you in 2 weeks' time with a big finale there.
With our season finale. We made it through a season.
Which means you guys made it through a season, and y'all are friggin' nuts.
Honestly.
Thank you all so much for listening. We'll see y'all next time.
Bye.